McCarthy and I am the head of marketing here at Pembroke. Today I have the wonderful pleasure of launching episode 2 of the Pembroke Story with our clinical director, Brenda Barrett. Brenda, how are you keeping today?
Hi Shane, how are you?
I'm not too bad, knowing yourself.
Grand, thanks. Grand.
Thank you for episode 1, by the way. Fantastic, over 6,000 views. Telling the introduction to the Pembroke Story, how you own and run one of the largest privately owned dental practices in the country, what it was like being one of the first female clinical directors in Carlow. It was a really fascinating insight. Today, if it's okay, Brenda, what I would love to do is pick your brain around leadership, around building a team, and around what you consider to be really the core principles of management. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
Perfect.
First and foremost, I cannot believe that people have the 6,000 people had interest to look at the first video, but sure, there you go. You know, I'd never cease to be surprised. Let's put it like that.
It's a fascinating story though, Brenda. There isn't many females in business that have done it the way that you have, and that have got on to the success that you have. And I think a big thing is probably just inspiring the next generation, because on the last episode you even talked about the need for dental nurses and getting more people into the industry, be it male or female. So I think that's a big catalyst as well. And also the second thing is the reputation Pembroke has. I mean, you've clinics. I mean, you're about to launch the 7th one in Newbridge, is it? Coming soon?
Yeah. Hopefully now in October. I think we're end of September, October. Very excited about that. It's going to be one of the. It's going to be, actually, I feel it's going to be the pinnacle of the Pembroke practices. So at the moment we're at the awful pulling down stage and the builder stage, but we have a good team of builders on hand. It's been well planned, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll keep the audience posted on that note. Some videos coming soon. So what I wanted to start off with was asking you, how do you find managing a big team? Because one of the things we talk about is, being the captain of a big ship. And the more and more I work with Pembroke, the more and more I understand how big a ship it is. So how is it managing a big team, Brenda?
It is certainly challenging. That's the first thing I would say. It is really fast paced. There's a lot of thinking on your feet. There's decision making, huge amount of decision making, and an awful lot of unexpected twists and turns. Every single day is something new. You wake up in the morning and you plan your day, and by 9:05, that's just gone completely out the window. And you for the rest of the day, I tend to be apologizing to people, kind of going, I'm really sorry I'm late. I'm really sorry I did. I just, things happen. The big ship, difficult to steer, is key, in that you have to have an awful lot of patience. You have to have a long-term goals and kind of go chip away at them, chip, small chip. I really like it though. I have to admit, I find it extremely stimulating managing a team and growing something like Pembroke Dental. From a mental viewpoint, it really gets the old brain cells moving, and you're problem solving a lot of the time. You're having to take into consideration a lot of people and their lives and their needs and requirements, not just the patients, which fundamentally are core. They really are core to everything we do, but the people who are taking care of who are directly taking care of the patients, and then the hidden team, which is the hidden team behind that again, the administrative backup team, the people who keep the place clean, the people who are maintaining the buildings, the team of technicians that are really loyal to us behind that. Yeah.
And do you think empathy and emotion and intelligence are important, like people management skills, when it comes to managing a ship at a size?
Oh yeah. Completely key. And I never got that actually when we were smaller, because when you're a dentist working in a surgery with 1 or 2 nurses, yes, you do have a real direct relationship with them. when you get bigger, you don't have the you mightn't have the direct relationship with everyone in your team. You know who they are, and you'll know
Yeah,
their, in the back of the mind, you know what their life story is. But then, you really have to be empathetic to what's going on in their lives, how they're managing, their job, what they have to do before they come to work, and then what they have to do once they go home from work.
And did the pandemic make that more challenging, Brenda?
Oh, stop. Oh, I just think that the pandemic has been revolutionary in some ways about work in general. I mean, I was discussing this with someone over the weekend. Who would have thought 2 years ago that a fully remote job might be possible?
Very, very
whereas,
true.
yeah. So that doesn't really happen. It's the stress of the pandemic for us. We are frontline workers, and the stress of going in there and facing, this time last year and a little bit beforehand, making enormous decisions like, was it, at that stage we didn't really know, was it an airborne virus? Was it, was touching a door handle going to...
I'm sure your process is to clean up, Brenda. To clean, sanitize.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like we spoke recently about PPE equipment, and the government is supposed to be sending down PPE equipment.
Oh, yeah. And not, look, what I learned about, we've been using masks and gloves since I qualified. But what I learned last year was that there was different levels of masks and gloves. Where was I going to source this? Whether they did the job adequately. I really felt I had I was responsible for the safety of my staff, and that was a huge responsibility. I put an enormous amount of thought and research into, was it safe to send my staff back?
But I think that goes back to the type of leader that you are, Brenda, because it's not, it's not every leader does that. Not every leader cares.
I felt personally, and still do feel personally responsible. Still do. It's it is, safety has to be first, and then taking consideration, staff members who had young kids at home, young sick kids. Could they actually come into work? Was it actually viable for them to continue to work? A lot of hard decisions.
Seems very considerate. That puts me on to another question then. How would you, with all that in mind, how would you describe your leadership style?
I would hope very simple. That I'm not a complex person. What you see is what you get, and a simple style, but a strong style as well. You know what I mean? I would be opinionated. So,
I don't think you could have got to the level you've got there, Brenda, without having some internal strength. Like, if people watch episode 1, by the way, and we're re-releasing this on Thursday, which Brenda may not have been too happy about, but if you watch it, you'll see where Brenda gets this inner strength, being on the pathway that she has been on to build this Pembroke Story, to captain this ship. You'll see very quickly. And then on that note, what would your colleagues say your leadership style is? Because I love asking this question. Is it the same as what you think it is?
Oh, they'd say I'm a stubborn mule. I'd say that a stubborn mule. I'd say I would be described as a stubborn mule, but a mule that if you got the right, if you were able to give a reasoned argument to, the mule would move. The mule could be turned.
I think you listen from my experience, which I think you listen a lot, definitely. But again, people don't have the level of depth. They're not making 150 decisions a day. If a person in a scenario like as someone who's been involved in running their own company before, people mostly have a limited viewpoint on this little box. Whereas you're looking at this box,
at the big,
one,
big picture. That's
Yeah.
right. It's
And
the layers.
yeah.
I would hope that there would be a serious level of fairness. I would hope that they would describe me as being fair.
That's one of the
I
big
think if
things
you're
I
not
get.
fair, you're in real difficulty. You know,
Yeah.
you have to be fair, and you have to be quite empathetic as well. You know, to people's individual circumstances. So yes, there's definitely wheels within wheels. In that, you know, somebody's one focus could be themselves and their particular circumstances. I have to think of that plus the layer outside it, and then the bigger layers. So
they call it the onion effect, isn't it? That there's just layers and layers and layers and layers.
Yeah.
And then what would you say have been your biggest learnings along the way to where you are now? You know, 6 practices, the 7th one opening, largest privately owned in the country. It's been a big journey to captain this ship.
Oh yeah.
What have been your biggest leadership or management lessons you've learned along the way, Brenda?
You have to be able to make decisions, and you have to stick with those decisions and not dither. And sometimes your decisions may not be correct. They may be proven not to be correct, but at least you have to have been reasoned behind it. You say, well, look, at that time I did that because of X or Y, and to be focused. You really, really have to be focused on everything that you do. Attention to detail at the end of the day too. When you're dealing with a big staff, you know, everybody is important. When you're dealing with patients, there's a lot of patients, so nobody can be forgotten in this journey, you know. And then you have to give yourself thinking time. When I really I get most out of a day when I'm not interrupted by dealing with some problems.
There's a little forest fires going off everywhere.
Because you strategize in those days. You learn, you know, and strategy is important. I have to think about not this year. I have to think about next year and the year after, where we're going, where we've been, what we've learned. What we've hopefully learned along the way.
It seems to be working.
So and I really enjoyed the thinking side of things. There are definitely things I don't like. You know, I don't. The figure side of things, the financial end of it, I'm not great on it. So I really need good supportive people who do understand that and kind of say, yeah, it's all right to do that.
You need people who that's what they're
passionate about. And that is certainly something that I've learned, is that I don't have all the skills, but what I need to be able to do is to talk to valued people who will tell me the information I need, so I have a broad understanding of it, although I might necessarily have the minute understanding of it, but I need to know the broad outlines of things.
That brings me on to then, do you think that that's one of the most important traits or characteristics a leader should have, that observational awareness or that attention to detail, to be able to take a step back, listen to the I suppose the value that people are giving you or the experience they're giving you, and then to be able to make some kind of an objective opinion, because like you seem to be very good at listening to the team. So I can imagine that there's 10 people talking to you about different things. They're all somewhere intertwined, but they may not be talking to each other, and you're here trying to listen to everybody and then make an educated decision. Is that something that happens?
But you've just described it really, really well. That to me is the core thing, is listening to advice from various options, assimilating it, and then making the decision. You know, but the educated decision. It's not a decision without without reasoning behind it. These have to be reasoned decisions. And that's the reasoned, educated decisions.
We had a recent chat, Brenda, about the branding for Newbridge. And
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved listening to the viewpoint you took. You know, we presented 8 to 12 different options. And just the methodology we came to after 2 or 3 weeks of discussions, I really liked it,
Yeah.
because again, it's an educated decision on what's the net effect if we move this way, or if we move this
Yeah.
way. What's the cost, the time, or the leverage by us going this
Yeah.
way? And then it
Yeah.
came back to where me, with all of my years of experience in marketing or branding, I was going, it's a very logical decision.
Yeah.
But again, I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
have to talk to the architect or the interior design people or whoever. I'm just there from the marketing and going, here are options. Whereas as
Yeah.
the captain of the ship, it's very, very different too.
Yeah,
then,
that was a very good example, actually. That was a very, very good example. Sometimes the creation point of things, you know, is very, very exciting. You kind of think, oh, look, as we did in that process, which was to develop the branding further, and it's really that like, it's exciting. You literally would be waiting on this piece of information to come, but then you have to take things in the round. You literally have to look at bigger picture. What is, if I make that decision, where's the knock-on decisions, sideways, upwards, downwards, and how long is it going to take, and really, is there value at the end of it?
yeah,
For everyone concerned. So that takes time too, you know.
it does, because if you think, like, you loved, we both loved some of the logos that the design
yeah,
team created. We were both on, these are fantastic. But as
yeah,
you flush through the rationale of, okay, but now we're going to have to get new signage, new window signs, new clothing,
yeah,
everything suddenly changes. And then
yes,
you're
it
going,
does, yeah,
okay, your love and affection for these beautiful pieces of art sound great, but from a leadership position, from an operations position, and the word you use there, which I love, Brenda, from a value perspective, is this the best decision to make? No,
yeah,
then it comes back to you
yeah,
having to listen to all of these and then make the decision. But that's the cross you bear, I suppose, being the clinical director. And when you're the
yeah,
boss, that's the way this works, unfortunately. Well,
yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. No, along the line though, if somebody had said to me that there is serious value in doing this, I wouldn't be adverse to change. I don't think you can be adverse to change. You have to accept that you don't know everything, can't know everything, and that also there's a generation coming up underneath me now that is seriously, they've got new skills, they've got a lot to
They're very
teach. And
socially driven. Yeah, so much
yeah,
of it is online now. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, it is, yeah,
if I
yeah,
want to order something or look up something, you don't ring
yeah,
anybody really anymore. It's all straight to their social media or to their website or through Google that
yeah. Now, you see, what I also know is that I don't have to be involved on social media to know about social media.
That's why you people like me, Brenda. That's why you people like me. And then that brought me on to something else I wanted to know. You know, you have a lot of let's call them cat generals here. You know, you're the person in charge, but you have a lot of people, leaders within Pembroke.
Yeah.
So to me, what do you look for when you're employing one of these people, Brenda? What are the traits or the characteristics you look for in leadership? Because, you know, being at the top of the totem pole, so to speak, or being the person leading the ship or driving the ship, that's one thing. But you need generals in here behind you,
Yeah.
male or female, that, you know, they're going to lead the different subsections of your teams. What kind of traits do you look for?
Well, I tell you what, I look for. I look for traits that I these people, we're a team, but they have to. We have to complement each other. So in a lot of people, I'd be looking for skills that I wouldn't actually be good, that I wouldn't really have. Say the financial acumen. I know that my overall business manager is extremely strong on that, and also the financial team in general is really strong. And there was a huge relief in getting those people into place, because I knew that part of the business was being well looked after, was that I could depend on these people, that I could lock that part of the business away and say,
Fantastic,
that's fine. And all I need to know at the end of the month is certain figures. I know that we're not going to find hidden holes there where, you know, that are going to
that
become
trusted experience give you a lot of peace of mind, Brenda.
Oh yeah. And then say dealing directly with staff, somebody who has a really good listening ear. Now I know you were saying I have a good listening ear, but you know, I don't have that good a listening ear. And I need salient pieces of information. So the people, the management team, they have to take information from the team below them or the patients or what a feedback basically from those, and then they need to distill it so that it comes up to me in a form that, you know, that there's 3 or 4 points, and then from that 3 or 4 points I can make the ultimate decision. And then the other thing is that they need to be I don't need to make every decision. No way do I need to make every decision. So they have to be decision makers themselves, you know. But they also then need to know the really important things that I need to be involved in, the critical things.
There is an emotional intelligence around that, and an observational awareness.
Yeah.
That's something as well we've always looked to do, is to work with people like that, people who understand what's been played in front of them, or what the rules of engagement are, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the way things have to work left or have to work right. And then in your years, Brenda, and the experience so far, the amazing journey to get here, have you seen leadership change much? You know, leadership in the 90s versus leadership in the 2000s versus the last 10 years.
I tell you, it's gone completely from I suppose you describe it as an authoritarian type of leadership, where there was this, you know, feared person who said what way it was going to be, and that was it. Oh no, it's much more a cumulative leadership style now, where everybody has to have a stay. I really value opinions of everyone who works for me, and their opinion needs to be heard, so that ultimately it's a much more collaborative type of leadership. And I think that style works now. We are building a team. I think that over the last few years is the critical thing. If there isn't a good team behind me, there's no one behind me. There's absolutely no one behind me.
Absolutely, yeah. It wouldn't be too nice captain in a big ship and nobody on the ship, just yourself to steer it, you know.
No, so I think leadership now is about team building and keeping that team going, and sharing core values, and making sure that the people who are in your team share those core values and stick by those core values. That it's not lip service to them. It is your beliefs, your belief system.
I only have another couple of questions, you know, Brenda, and one of them is, both of them are really based on what you just said. Do you have any core principles as a manager or leader? In other words, what are the most important values or ethics that you try to demonstrate as a leader?
Well, because we are in healthcare, it is all about the patients, and ultimately, if the you know, patients come number one. I think integrity is another thing as well. You know, we dentistry as a profession, or just healthcare in general, you know, I think what we've seen from the pandemic is the dedication of healthcare professionals. There used to be a lot of criticism about healthcare professionals, that we were, you know, oh, they don't really care, they're overpaid, they're this, that, and the other. But God, people really put their lives on the line during the pandemic. You know,
I've never seen anything like it in my time. People are willing to commit their lives, literally their families.
Literally at the big, so fairness, patient-centric, you know, I think they would be a lot of, you know, they'd be a lot of my core beliefs, is that, you know, we'll treat everyone fairly. We, you know, like I would like some of my family to be treated fair, a lot of fairness, and integrity. There would be my two core beliefs.
And then the last one then to finish up on, because you are the captain of this ship, Brenda, because you brought it so far, I wanted to know, what do you believe from your experience is the best way to empower a team? So this is going out to all the other males and females leading businesses at the moment that are probably at an earlier stage than yourself. You know, you've 6 practices underneath, another one about to open up. We've more videos coming on this box, so don't worry about it. But to wrap it up, what's the best way to empower a team?
Communication of core values, supporting team members in what they want to do, believing in team development and working towards team development. That's what I would think is core to building a team leadership. Listening is an awful lot. Yeah, listening to.
And then the more I listen to you, the more I understand why you're the captain of this ship.
Stop, Shane.
I learn loads and we come on to have these chats. So, just Brenda, we're in agreement here. The first episode we're re-releasing on Thursday. This episode, I think, will come out the following Monday. So this is in and around, sorry, no, just 1 second. It's the 16th. So I'm thinking the 23rd, this episode should be airing. We will have episode 1, like I said, coming out this Thursday. This has been the Pembroke Story. I'm Shane McCarthy, the head of marketing here at Pembroke. This is Brenda Barrett, our leader and our clinical director. This has been episode 2. Thank you all for tuning in. You'll see this on Instagram and Facebook. Brenda, thank you very much again. Another episode done. We have another 3 to go. I hope you're excited.
Thanks a million, Shane.
Take care. All the best. Bye.
Take care. Bye.